What's up guys, my name is Ace, and Season 2 of XDefiant launched last week, and it did take a couple days before I had some time to finally dive in and play it, and now that I have, I wanted to share some of my thoughts and impressions on this season. And let's start this off with the new map that we got with the season. This is Waterfront, and I've got to say, I love this map. I actually think this is my favorite map in the entire game at this point. I think it's just that perfect size, really nice rectangular layout with clearly defined lanes, and while there is nice separation between the lanes, there's also very interesting cut points between them. And based on my experience so far with this map, especially for objective game modes, this map plays and flows really nice. Like I said, I actually think this is my favorite map in the game now. And that's not even mentioning the aesthetic. I really like the aesthetic of it as well. It's bright, it's colorful, it's sunny, it's really easy to see targets. Nobody's blending into the environment anywhere, at least in my experience so far. And just overall, a really well done map that I'm quite happy with. Next up, let's talk about the new faction that came with Season 2. This is Highwaymen. And with this, their Ultra is the saw launcher, which actually reminds me of one of the weapons we had. I believe it was in Black Ops 3 in Call of Duty, where you shoot a saw blade out and it bounces around. It will bounce several times, and it's a one-hit kill if it just touches an enemy player. I could definitely see it leading to some really frustrating deaths where the player that killed you with it didn't even intend to kill you or didn't even know you were in that area. They were just aiming at someone else, but they got a lucky bounce or you got an unlucky bounce and you end up getting killed by it. I actually experienced that a few times while using this launcher. I was shooting at one person only to get a triple kill against two other people that I didn't know were in the area. So definitely some power to that. It's fun, but at the same time, you have to use it in the right situations. Out in the open, if you try to use this, you're not going to be taking full advantage of it. You want to use it in those close quarters areas or in rooms where you know enemies are going to be. Now with the saw launcher, you actually get 6 shots, which I actually consider to be quite a few considering how many times each of those saw blades will bounce off walls. They continue bouncing for quite some time. And then on top of that, another thing I noticed with this ultimate is there's no time constraint whatsoever. Once you activate it, you can take all the time you need to get those 6 shots off, and as long as you're not dying, that saw launcher will still be in your hands. And if I have just one piece of feedback to give with this, I personally prefer when ultimates like this have a little bit of a time constraint to them so that it pushes you to get out there, and also so that when you run into somebody that's using the saw launcher, or any of these ultimate abilities for that matter, you know that from the moment they activated that, the clock is ticking on it and it's only going to be active for a certain maximum period of time. That maximum doesn't exist with the saw launcher. As for their abilities, one of them is the scrap turret. And this is just a turret that you place down on the ground. It spins around in 360 degrees and it will auto lock onto enemies and start shooting them. But in my experience, it's not particularly lethal. I don't even think I got a single kill with this while using it through several matches. It definitely helped me get some kills or assists. It seemed to deal a bit of damage to enemy players, but it seemed rare that it would have enough time to actually deal enough damage to kill somebody before they move out of the way. It does seem to take a little while to lock on. And with the movement being quite quick in XDefiant, it's pretty easy to get out of the way once you realize one of these is starting to shoot at you. And I think that's how it should be balanced as an ability. It's not an ultimate or anything. I don't think it should be the type of thing you plop down and it's just getting kill after kill after kill for you. But hey, if it picks up the odd kill here or there, or it helps you get the odd kill here or there, then I think that's great. And I actually think they have done quite a good job balancing that based on my limited experience with it so far. But then after that, for the other ability, we have the M79 launcher, which is just a grenade launcher that gives you 2 projectiles per use. They have a huge amount to drop, so if you're trying to stretch out your ranges at all, you have to aim way above the enemy's head. Like far more than you would typically expect if you use grenade launchers in most FPS games like this. So that definitely keeps it in check. It does seem to have quite a large explosive radius, but I also found in my experience with how slow the projectile travels, many times it's just going to lead to a kill trade. It actually gives the enemy enough time. If they're locked in, they will end up killing you before that grenade even hits the ground. And then on top of that, it also has a very long cooldown of 1 minute per use. Now at the end of the day, the best part of the Highwaymen, in my opinion at least, is their passive ability, which is called Revved. And with this, as you continue to get kills in the same life, your rate of fire and reload speed will increase. So as you go on a kill streak from 1 to 4, it will slowly increase over time, and once you hit a 4 kill streak, this is where you reach your maximum rate of fire and reload speed potential when using this passive. And I really like the feeling of this. It definitely brings back memories of the Specialist Strike package in Call of Duty in the past, where you get perks instead of kill streak rewards as you continue to rack up kills in the same life. And it's absolutely my favorite part of the Highwaymen. I don't even care so much about the other things. I just love playing for this passive. Although one thing I will say is at the moment there is a bugged out overlay, so once you do hit that 4 kill streak, that overlay I think is just supposed to like flash on your screen really briefly to show that you've reached your maximum. but instead it like sticks around on your screen the entire time, and that can get a little bit annoying, but Aches has confirmed that that is a bug and they are going to be working that out. So there we go. That's the Highwayman. I think a great addition to the game. I really enjoy using that saw launcher as well as that passive trait, although with the abilities themselves, I'm not a huge fan of running them personally. And at the end of the day, I don't think the Highwaymen are going to become my like go-to faction, but definitely a faction that I will use from time to time when I play this game. After that, let's talk about new weapons. And unfortunately, I can only talk about one new weapon because it's the only one that I have access to so far, because I bought the premium battle pass, which gives you the 20 tier skips in the battle pass and allows you to get that first gun, which is the PP19. And by the way, before we get into that, I just want to point out, since I haven't mentioned this in a YouTube video yet, I do actually have a creator code for this game. You do have to scroll pretty much to the bottom of the list, but my name is there, XDefiant. So if you are planning on buying anything in the XDefiant shop and you want to support me, then make sure you hit that support a creator thing, scroll down, find my name, and select that. And to be clear, I'm not relying on any money whatsoever coming from that, so like it's not going to affect my reviews on anything. It's just the type of thing where if you're spending money anyway and you want to support me, then it's there if you want to use it. But getting back to the PP19, this is the slowest firing SMG in the game now, but it does have a little bit of a better range profile compared to the other SMGs. And time to kill wise, by default, it's got the exact same time to kill up close as the MP7 does, so not bad at all. It's right around average for an SMG in this game. It's also got a really big magazine capacity by default, although this does come with a downside of a slower movement speed than normal for an SMG in this game. Our handling stats are also on the slower side. It's kind of in between an SMG and an assault rifle. And overall, just based on my experience with it so far, I've been having fun with the PP19. I think it definitely helps to get some key attachments unlocked, especially ones that help with your movement and your aim down sight strafe speed. But once you get a few of those on there, I find this is an excellent gun to be using, and I had quite a bit of fun with it. So that's the new content that I was able to experience. You might be wondering about the bomb game mode, which is kind of like search and destroy for XDefiant. I'll tell you guys right up front, I'm just not interested in that game mode. I haven't played it. I have no intention of playing it, especially with abilities in the equation. I just don't think this game is well suited to a one life mode like that. I know a lot of people were requesting that. I'm not one of those people, and therefore we're not going to be talking about bomb today. And this is where I just wanted to share some of my random thoughts and experiences so far with Season 2. Some of this is just going to be some critical feedback. One thing I'll note is connection felt really good since Season 2, but kill trades are out of control now after Season 2. And I believe what they were trying to do here is fix those ghost hit markers where you do get a hit marker on a player, but then you die and you look at their health bar and you notice you didn't actually deal any damage to them with that hit marker. I think what they did is they just significantly opened up that window where they'll still accept a hit even if you're already dead according to the other player, or more importantly, according to the host, and therefore it's allowing for far too many kill trades to take place. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind the odd kill trade here or there. If it happens every now and then, that's cool, but in my experience so far, it's like 1/3 of my deaths result in a kill trade at this point, and that's just insane. That's way too much. Now, Aches did stop by my stream as I was talking about this and experiencing this a lot, and he did mention they will be tightening that window up. So they did take this a little too far, and they're going to dial that back, so we shouldn't be seeing as many kill trades in the future. We have no idea as to when that update will take place, but the devs are aware of this, and they are going to be making an adjustment. Another thing I wanted to point out here, which is a little bit concerning, the matchmaking times for me were very slow. It was often taking me several minutes to get into a lobby or into a match, which is concerning because that does seem like not a ton of people are playing, or something else on a technical level is going on with matchmaking that is slowing things down. And I just couldn't help but thinking when this was happening, I really wish we could just stay in the lobby. If we had persistent lobbies, I wouldn't have nearly as much of an issue with this, but what I found is I would get into a good lobby, we'd play a great game together, it would auto disband, and then it would take me several minutes to get into my next lobby and get into a game again. Whereas if lobbies stuck together, we could have that 45-second to 1-minute timer between games, and I'm just back into the game playing with and against the same people I was playing with and against in the previous match. We could have those rematches. So I know that's something they said they intend to bring at some point in the future. I hope that comes sooner rather than later, because it is frustrating to finish a match and then realize, well, it's going to be 4 or 5 minutes before my next one pops up. Another thing I noticed, more gameplay-wise here, is they did adjust footsteps quite a bit, and they are far quieter than they used to be in XDefiant. And while they are still there, and I will say I was able to win a few gunfights that I probably wouldn't have been able to win if I didn't hear their footsteps coming first, there were also a decent number of times where people ran right up behind me and I heard nothing. I just got shot in the back and it was like, oh, hey, there's a guy like right there practically touching me, and I had no idea he was there. So at least in my opinion, I do think they took this a little bit too far, and I think there's a middle ground there to be found between what the footsteps used to be and what they are now. I think they should be slightly more audible, especially with the slower time to kill of this game. I think it's okay to have footsteps a bit more audible because the gunfight isn't just decided by who hears who first. There's still a lot more that goes on when it comes to the gunfight itself, when it comes to evasion and hitting your target accurately in the process. So that's just a little bit of feedback I have. I do think they dialed back footsteps a bit too much in this game. And that's pretty much it when it comes to my general thoughts and impressions so far with Season 2 of XDefiant. Definitely some really solid steps forward. The game's still playing great. The gunplay feels great. I absolutely love that new waterfront map. And I'm definitely looking forward to squeezing in as much XDefiant as possible alongside Call of Duty, at least up until the release of Black Ops 6, and then at that point, Black Ops 6 is definitely going to be taking over for me. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. For those of you that have played Season 2 of XDefiant, how are you feeling about things so far? Do you guys think the game is getting better and better over time, or not so much? Have you guys been having some continued issues with it? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.